Dear students, today we will discuss pollination. As you have learned that in angiospermic plants, pollen gland is the male gametophyte and embryo sac is the female gametophyte. Pollen gland produces the male gametes and the embryo sac produces the female gametes. For fertilization, it is necessary to bring them together, and this is achieved by the mechanism that is called the pollination. Pollination is a process, it is a mechanism to bring the male gametes and female gametes together. In pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma by the different agents. This process is called the pollination. And types of pollination. Types of pollination. It is of three types. That is autogamy, diatomogamy, and third one is genome. The types of the pollination depends on the source of the pollen. In autogamy, the pollen of the same flower are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. The flower is the same, thus male gametes and female gametes both are genetically similar in autogamy. Though complete autogamy is rare, the conditions which are needed for the autogamy are: number one, synchrony. Synchrony should be between the release of pollen grains and receptivity of the stigma. It means the anthers and stigma should mature at the same time. When anthers are released at that time, stigma attain the receptivity. This condition is necessary for the autogamy. The synchrony should be there in the release of the pollen grains and the receptivity of the stigma. Number two condition, anthers and stigma, they should lie close to each other. Now, I give an interesting example of autogamy. The plants like viola, Commelina, and ogilis. In this plant species, two types of the flowers are produced: Chiasma and Cleistogamous. Chiasmogamous flowers are open. In these flowers, anthers and stigma are exposed, and these flowers are like the flowers of the other species of the angiospermic plants. But in Cleistogamous flowers, the flowers are closed. It means these flowers never open, they never open. Thus, this Cleistogamy favors the autogamy. Cleistogamous flowers are invariably autogamous. And in these flowers, flower is closed and the stigma and anthers lies close to each other, and the act of pollination takes place, and this type of pollination is the invariably autogamous type. Now, one important thing that I would like to discuss here, that is, what is the advantage and disadvantage of cleistogamy. First take the advantage. Cleistogamy assures the seed formation. In cleistogamy, there is 100% chances of the pollination, thus the formation of the seed is certain. It is the big advantage of the cleistogamy. And disadvantage, though in cleistogamy, here the pollen grain and the male gamete and female gamete both are from the same plant, same flower. No genetically, they are genetically alike. Thus, no variations are created. This is the disadvantage of the cleistogamy. In cleistogamy, variations are not created. Now we come on the G. Itonogamy. In G. Itonogamy, transfer of the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the different flower and same plant. Different flower and same plant. Different flower, same plant. It means this type of pollination is genetically similar to the autogamy. Here, the male gametes and female gametes both belong to the same plant, thus genetically they are alike, like the autogamy. We can say autogamy is the self pollination and heterogamy. Genetically, when we talk genetically, it is self pollination. But ecological, heterogamy is the cross pollination. It is cross pollination. Ecologically. Why? Answer is very simple. Plant is same, but flowers are different. Thus, for the pollination, pollinating agent is required. That is why it is a cross pollination ecologically, and genetically it is the self pollination.
Okay, वीडियो बता ऑटोमेटिक रुक गई
Xenogamy, in this type of the pollination, pollen grain from the anther are transferred to the stigma of the different plant of the same species. Here plant is different, means male gametes and female gametes are genetically similar. In this type of pollination, variations are created in the xenogamy. It is invariably cross pollination. It is a cross pollination. For pollination, pollen agents are required. Flowering plants, a variety of the pollinators to achieve the pollination. We can group these all pollinators into two categories. Abiotic agents and biotic agents. Wind and water. These two agents are abiotic agents. These are used by some plants, some flowering plants, to achieve the pollination. Biotic agents, animals. Most of the angiospermic plants, they use the biotic agents for the pollination. First, we will discuss the pollination by bee. As I told you, in majority of the flowering plants, pollination is acted by the animals, abiotic agents. Some plants, they use the wind and water as a pollinating agents. The flowers, they are pollinated by the wind and water. They produce the large amount of the pollens. It is adaptation. Now question is this: why large amount of pollens are produced by the flowers? They are pollinated by the wind and water. Why? Because by the pollination, by the wind and water, this pollination, it is a chance factor. In the transportation of the pollen from the anther to the stigma, and there is a less certainty to reach at the stigma because it is a chance factor. It is a chance factor, and most of the pollens are lost in the transportation. Thus, to compensate the loss of the pollens in the transportation, these plants, those who are pollinated by the wind and water, they produce the large amount of the pollen grains. This is the reason. Abiotic agents are two types, wind and water. Among the abiotic agents, pollination by wind is more common. In more plant species, pollination takes place by the wind than the water, those which use the abiotic agents. The adaptations are shown by the plants, by the flowers, those are pollinated by the winds. Pollinated plants, especially flower. Number one, pollens are light and non-sticky. Pollens are light and non-sticky. You can understand easily. Pollens are light. They have a low weight and non-sticky. Thus, they can be easily transported, carried by the wind currents from anther to the stigma. Number two, the stigma is large and feathery. Stigma is large and feathery. This structure, this adaptation helps to trap the pollen grains easily. When the stigma is large and feathery, it can trap the pollen grains easily. Anthers are well exposed. This adaptations also favor the wind pollination. When anthers are exposed in the flower, this condition favors the easy disperse of the anthers in the wind. One very important adaptation, I am going to talk about the adaptations in wind pollinated plants. Ovary contains only one ovule. One ovule per ovule. In these plants produce only one ovule or ovary. Why? Answer is very easy. Wind pollination is not a certain mechanism of pollination. There are less chances of pollination. Thus, these plants don't want to waste their energy in producing the more ovules because the chances of the pollinations are minimum. Less chances are there. Thus, one ovule per ovary is found in the plants which are pollinated by the wind. In which pollinated plants, plant species, flowers are colorless, flowers are not colorful, no fragrance, no fragrance, they don't produce nectar. These plants mostly white in color, they don't have a bright color, they don't have a fragrance, they don't produce the nectar. In wind pollinated plants, flowers are borne on the flower axis in a cluster. That is called the inflorescence. And this structure again help in the trapping the pollen grains. These are the certain adaptations found, and these adaptations are found in the wind pollinated plants. They have evolved such adaptations. Example in grasses. In most of the grass plants, wind pollination takes place. Water as a pollinator. Water as a pollinator. Very few plants, they are pollinated by water. In other words, I say that some plants, some angiosperm plants, about 30 janda, they use the water for pollination. Among these 30 janda, most of are monopods. One very interesting thing that I would like to discuss here, as you know, you have learned that water is a medium for the fertilization in all the algae plants, algae, bryophytes, and pteridophytes. These are the large group of the plants, algae, bryophytes, and pteridophytes. In all these groups of plants, water has a great role. What is required for the fertilization? The male gametes of the algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, they move in the water medium and reach to the female gamete. Here is very interesting fact is there. It is question sometimes asked in the board examination. Why bryophytes and pteridophytes are distributed in a confined area, their distribution is limited. Why the distribution of the bryophytes and pteridophytes is limited? Reason, answer is very simple. Because they need water for fertilization, thus their distribution is limited. The plants in which they are pollinated with water, for example, are Venicellaria, Idilia, sea grasses. These are the some examples I have written on the blackboard. Venicellaria, Idilia, sea grasses. These plants use the water as a pollinating agents. One thing here I want to clear, note all the aquatic plants. Note all the aquatic plants. Note the all aquatic plants. For example, water hyacinth, water lily. These plants are aquatic, but they are pollinated by the insects or wind. Their flowers come on the surface of the water body, and these are pollinated by the wind and insects. Though they live in the water, these are aquatic plants. Venicellaria, Idilia, and sea grasses. In Venicellaria, it is a freshwater aquatic plant. Venicellaria, its female flower has long stalk. With the help of the long stalk, this flowers, female flower, come on the surface of the water body, and the male gametes, male flower and pollen grains are released on the surface of the water. Through the water currents, they are carried towards the stigma. Eventually, pollen grains are landed on the stigma through the water currents in Venicellaria. In sea grasses, example is Zoster is a sea grass. In sea grasses, plants are submerged, and thus the flowers are submerged. Female flowers and male flowers both are submerged. Male flowers from the anther, pollen grains are released, and these pollen grains move in the water and reach to the stigma. The pollen grains of sea grasses are middle shape, long, and they can move easily in the water medium and eventually reach to the stigma. In this way, the act of pollination is achieved. Lastly, we discuss the biotic agents, animals. Flowering plants or angiosperm plants, they use a wide range of the animals, for the pollination. Some animals which are common that I write on the blackboard. Insect. One thing more I would like to add, that many of the angiosperm plants and most of the angiosperm plants, they use the animals, biotic agents as a pollinator. Among the animals, insects, play the greater role. And among the insects, bees are the dominant. Bees. They play the greatest role among the insects. Bees, butterflies, flies, moths, beetles, wasps, ants, bees. These all are insects. They play role. They act as a pollinators in the number of the angiosperm plants. Birds. Some birds, for example, sunbird and hummingbird. Bats, insects, some birds, bats, these are the common pollinators. Some larger animals also have been reported as a pollinator. For example, some primates. Example, lemurs. Some primates, lemurs, some reptiles. Gecko, lizard, garden lizard. Some are boreal, rodent. Arbor means tree dwelling. They live in the trees. These large animals have been reported as a pollinator in some species. One important thing that I would like to discuss with you, that is the plants in which they use the biotic agents as a pollinators. They show particular adaptations. A particular plant species show a particular adaptations for a particular animal. Now we will discuss the common adaptations. Those are found in the flowers pollinated by the insects. Number one, flowers are large, and brightly colored. Flowers are large and brightly colored and appear like a big flower that attracts the insects and animals. Number two, these flowers produce nectar. Nectar is a nutritious food for the insects. Number third, they have fragrance. These are things: bright color, nectar, attract the animals. Number four, now see, animals, especially mostly insects, insects are attracted to the flowers for their bright color to fragrance and to get the nectar. They visit the flowers to get the nectar and pollen. Nectar and pollen both are the nutritious products, and to getting nectar and pollen they visit inside leaves. In return of this visit, the flower gets the pollination. Flowers get pollinated and the visitors get the nectar and pollens, and that is food for the insects or the visitors. These nectar and pollens, these are considered as the floral rewards. Floral rewards. These are floral rewards. Reward is given by the flower to the visitor, and return of that, the flower gets the pollination. They get pollinated. In this concern, one more very interesting example is there. Some flowers, some plant species in which, as a flower rewards, side is provided. A safe side is provided for laying egg. Safe side is provided for laying eggs. Some angiosperm plants, they provide a safe site for laying eggs to the insect. It's a very interesting example is here. A species of moth. A species of moth. Moth is insect and yucca plant. It is very interesting relationship is found between these two. Moth lays its egg in the ovary of the yucca plant. Its larva develops in the ovary. Ovary is a safer place. It is a safe place for the development of the egg for the moth. And in return of this, yucca plant gets the pollination. Both are benefited. This adaptation, this relationship is so strong. Without this relation, moth and yucca plant can't complete their life cycle without each other. Both are necessary to complete the life cycle. One more example, a flower named Amaryllis. Amorphophallus is the tallest flower, height 6 feet, about 6 feet. Amorphophallus flower has a height about 6 feet. It is the tallest flower. It also provides safe site for the eggs. This is all about the pollination. Thanks.